This is the 5th episode of Writer's Block. Little checklist, little note taking to begin the episode. I've noticed in the comments section, last couple episodes, I've seen people comparing this podcast to other podcasts, like ranking them, like what's number 1, what's number 2. Let me just like lay it out for you guys in the comments section. So, By the Numbers is the best podcast in Counter-Strike. And a lot of people like it because, you know, they talk real shit. But what's great about this podcast is that it is real shit. So
What did I get into?
So that's its order on the pecking list.
Welcome, Mauisnake.
Welcome, Mauisnake. Okay, so our guest, is Mauisnake. Not a writer, but I think he writes research reports for Thorin. So, I mean, someone's seeing some sort of some output on some text on some screen somewhere. How long have you been playing Counter-Strike? I guess I asked other writers like how long have they been writing, I guess. Like, but you're like a analyst, player, researcher, like what's your experience level?
So I started playing competitive Source in 2008 or 2007, and then I like stopped in 2010 for 5 years to basically just like study to get into college and then graduate from Columbia. And then in my senior year of Columbia, I just like decided to start playing again because there was like an esports club on campus, and then I pretty much picked it up at the beginning of 2016. I'm playing till now.
Okay, how long have you and Max been doing the thing for Thorin? How long has that? I forget how long this has been going on.
I know.
August,
6 months maybe.
Yeah, 6 months.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
that's a good enough introduction. That's my attempt at being a host of this show. Okay, so the topic for this week is going to be Gambit and Navi, sort of the national sort of regional thing going on. So as we've talked about in past episodes, I've been of the opinion for a while that Gambit's shit, not worth talking about. And then, you know, I really went on them last episode talking about how they're just falling apart. But then they got top 4 at an international top tier event. So maybe the first place to talk about start is Gambit. Sam, I saw you on Twitter last night say in sort of a meme fashion that might have disgruntled certain people that Space Soldiers was good. Now, how good is Gambit if Space Soldiers is good?
Right. Well, good is a relative term. So, when I say Space Soldiers is good, I mean they can be a top 10 team. If that's my standard for Gambit, I think Gambit can be a top 10 team. But I don't think, like, given Gambit's stature as a major winner, I don't think that classifies them as good, right? I think they're pretty bad. Clearly, they're good enough to beat pretty bad teams that are pretty bad right now in NA teams, but I think that, you know, they're fine. They're probably like a 8 to 10 team. I don't think they're a top 4 team in the world, nor do I think they will be a top 4 team in the world. So that's all I have to say about that.
All right, Mauisnake, you're shaking your head. What do you not a top 10 team, not a top 8 team, Gambit?
Well, I think they could definitely be top 10 if you look today, and I think that's kind of based off of personnel, but like their T sides look really flat when you watch them, and they really rely on just like too much CT side just ability. It seems like a lot of individual just like, I guess they flash for each other sometimes, but for the most part, I see like a lot of just random. I guess they slot themselves in nice spots that they're comfortable with or something right now.
Max, pretty much the same sort of general.
No, I just love the Adren interview. Did any of you read that? Where he was breaking down how like the calling structure works, which is basically like just seized as just another bitch, where it's just like it happened in Navi, like how everyone tried to like call overseas just because they didn't have any respect for him, and then Gambit like bought seized in and was like, oh yeah, you'll be a fragger, don't worry, man. Oh yeah, you're gonna be the call now. Like we're all gonna call ideas except you just decide which idea is good. And then Adren's like, yeah, it's a really good system because, you know, like Seized isn't exactly the best tactical leader, and so we can provide him with a lot of ideas. But in that overtime game against C9, apparently like Seized just had no control over the team at all, like for the entire half. So yeah, I don't know, man. Like Gambit,
It was like a 13-2 T side too. It was a pretty fucking atrocious.
Yeah, but you can just definitely see like Dozier, Adren, and Hobbit just being like, "Who the fuck is C's? Let's run this shit ourselves, boys!" And then just trying to frag the fuck out throughout the entire T half. I can definitely see that being the case.
Can I just interject and say that, like, at least at this tournament, C's was like probably a better player than Mo and
Yeah, I'm writing a piece on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that Hobbit was like really bad at this event.
I didn't think Mo was that good either. In all fairness,
I mean, but Mo is not that good.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like,
You
I
didn't
look
even
at Gambit
mention.
and I'm like,
Okay, go ahead.
oh yeah, no, just
We'll
I
talk
think
about
if you're gonna be a
Dozier
legit, Dozier was good as well. Yeah, but I think if you're gonna be top 8 to like that sort of like higher tier top 8 team, you need to have like a solid, consistent AWP, you know, who can actually deliver impact for you, like tournament to tournament, as opposed from the odd round to the odd round. And I don't see how Mo can be in any way, shape, or form an elite AWPer unless he's like in that like Krakow type form, you know.
Yeah. I don't think Sam mentioned Mo when he did his AWP tier thing last week. Is he just not even on your radar, Sam?
No, he isn't. Like,
Okay.
Mauisnake is an opera, so maybe he'll disagree. But I think that.
What do you think of Mo, Mauisnake?
I might be better than Mo. No, I'm just kidding. He's okay, but like sometimes he'll show up for like, I guess, maps. It's not even like a map. He'll show up and then just like he had good positioning. He took good early duels or something in that one map, and then fell back to nice spots after that. But then like another map, he'll just take a duel and lose it like consistently, and it's kind of like, okay, like where did everything that you just had went? I don't know.
My impression of Mo has always been he's sort of a weird guy where it seems like he actually succeeds at like a sort of a weird mid-range with the AWP where it actually seems like the rifle would have the most be the most effective. He actually seems to do pretty good at those ranges, but like short range and long range, he's just like okay. And then I always thought that his weakness was off the AWP. I mean, is this sort of a good character? Sort of agree with this? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe like he's not even a top 8 AWPer. I mean, Sam? What do you like? Realistically, in a tier, would he even be in your top 10? Can you think of?
No.
You think no?
No, I can think of like here's a question: like, which top 10 team has a worse AWPer than Mo? Like,
North isn't top 10 anymore, I guess.
No, they're not. They're like top.
Yeah.
They're not even top 15 right now. So.
I mean, Liquid doesn't have a primary AWPer, I guess.
Exactly.
I mean,
but even then, they have 3 AWPers that are better than Mo. So, like in my opinion, like Nitro.
I'd say he's probably Mertz.
Nah.
I don't know. Is Mertz worse than Mo?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know.
But like the thing is,
it's like. Yeah.
So he had one map against Liquid on Mirage where he was good, where he got multiple kills, but even then, like his kills aren't impressive. It just feels like he's at those times he can capitalize on people missing flashbangs or things like that, and he's positioning well. But he's not like super impressive. He's not like Draken, who can be streaky, but is actually like dominating when he's doing well. Like I don't think Mo is that kind of opera. I just think there's a difference between him being pretty good sometimes and really bad most of the time.
Yeah, because when I think of an informer, I think of him like being consistent and winning AWP v AWP duels. Like that's what I think of like an informer as. Yeah,
but he's not like he just got crushed by Simple over and over again. Like I guess by all of Navi, but like he dueled like on Nuke he dueled Simple like 3 or 4 times and he wasn't even close. Like even when he had the advantage in the peak, like he just got wrecked. Like
even when Simple had a scout.
Yeah, like what's even the point of buying the weapon? In my opinion, like I think they would be better if they just ran 5 AKs or if Seized ran the up.
I think Mo's not that bad.
Okay,
he should keep opping. Sometimes he's really actually pretty good positionally. Like he takes advantage of the positions and I don't know, has good angles.
Why do you think that he doesn't do that on a regular basis?
Because some teams actually know how to use utility. I'd say I don't know. Like he can take. It's like certain angles that sometimes he's good at. It's like when he was like actually good op v op. I think you'd be referring probably to PGL Major.
Yeah,
Max is, when like he beat Device a lot.
Yeah,
and
that was on Train as well, wasn't it?
Overpass.
Yeah, Overpass.
Oh,
did,
Overpass.
Like,
Yeah,
super
Overpass.
well. Yeah, but I don't know. Actually, that series it didn't feel like he got flashed that much, but like when he gets flashed back from like one position to like a later position in the round, like his rotations back or whatever, sometimes he just like will kind of crumble in the last position or whatever, and it's like, you know, streaky cool oppers like Draken or like Simple or Henny or whatever, they like just take like barely, they'll like jiggle almost with the op, and they'll just like take a really fast shot and hit it. With Mo, he's not really good
slow,
at that.
yeah, slower, sort of slower speed, yeah.
His like movement with the op isn't as good as like some hoppers is. Yeah.
Well, we sort of got off a tangent with Mo and oppers, but like, is this? Do you think this is the primary problem with Gambit? What do you? I mean, we talked about the T sides, but like, what do you? Okay, Max, what do you think the primary issue with Gambit is moving forward? What prevents them from moving into the top 8, top 6?
Just watch that nuke T side against Na'Vi.
Yeah.
Like, and there you go, boys. Like, that was, I just sat there, it was like a horror movie. Like, was it even a T side? Like, it was one of the worst things I've ever seen. Like, legit. And against,
isn't Noob like super CT sided right now?
Like, it's not. Astralis making
not that
really
CT sided.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, not that CT sided. And I mean, like, against Cloud9, you look at their, like, Gambit CT sides, I think we can all agree, exceptional. Like, they're, at least for the caliber of team they are. But yeah, I think that T sides are very, very lukewarm at best, and that's probably stems from the calling.
Yeah, they didn't get above like 7 rounds the entire tournament on any T sides or anything. So
yeah.
They're never going to win a half or win a game based off of
I think on Train against Na'Vi they got exploited on the CT side though. Like Hobbit just got killed first 5 times.
Dude, Hobbit, like he's like, he feels like he's out of it right now or something.
Yeah.
Like, he'll be posted on a smoke and then he'll like stop peeking the smoke and then Zeus just will go through it and then post up on Hobbit's angle, and it's just like,
Ivy boys.
Dude, like you just look at the smoke. Like, well, I don't know what, because I don't know. He's just.
And then he never adapted. Like Simple in the post-match interview just said, "Yeah, we watched a demo and we know how he plays. So we just killed him over and over again. He never changed."
Too surprising.
Yeah. So like that's a shame because like I think maybe that's one of the bigger problems. Like if their second best player is playing like their worst player, that's a problem for any team, right?
You could take the opposite approach that like, okay, C's looks good. He looks way better than people thought he was, like some dog shit player, completely washed up by the time he joined the roster. Then he comes into this tournament, does pretty well. We see Adren returning to form. If Hobbit comes back online, which he seems he could. I mean, he had a really great 2017, fantastic, right? He was like the rookie of the year or whatever, right? You could say that about. I mean,
he's crazy good.
Yeah, he was crazy good. He had a great major, at least, well, great last map of the major. It was mostly Adren and Mo, I think, really carrying him through that. But I mean, think about it like this equation, right? They have like a performing Adren, they have a performing C's. Okay, Doja and Mo are pretty average players, maybe slightly below average, but decent role players. I think Mauisnake, I even talked to you one time on Twitter about like how no one refers to Doja as a support player, even though he plays very supportive CT positions. But like if Hobbit comes online, they look pretty decent and they have the good CT size, right? Maybe I should ask this question instead of focusing on the negatives. What do you think about the CT sides works for Gambit right now? Why do you think they were able to beat Team Liquid, who 2 episodes ago we were saying it's a top 4 team? I mean, it's a different team. It's with Taco now instead of Steel, but yeah. Maybe Sam first.
I want someone else to talk about this first.
I can bring that up. Well, I think the big thing for Gambit is obviously they have Adren, who's like a legit international superstar if he's in form. Like, he's an exceptional player. I think like it was one of the most like absurd experiences for me to be watching C's POV and on Train him like peeking into A main and playing like aggressive ladder setups while Doja anchors B, because everyone like they have this image in their head of C's as that like, you know, the captain of that Na'Vi ship, which just it didn't just crash into rocks, it like slowly crashed into rocks, and you just it was one of the worst things to watch. But when I think of C's, I think of like, you know, 2016, 2015 C's, the guy secondary AWPing, anchoring B on Train and playing that sort of like site role in that base. And so then to see him fragging, but in like the completely opposite direction, being like the aggressive force and pressuring force on CT sides, to me, like, yeah, I agree with you, Sam. I think C's was such a big thing for their CT side, and he surprised me so much.
Okay, Mauisnake, you did that. I think you did a video on Fitch, and you had your. Maybe I saw you on Counterpoints talking about Fitch.
I talked about.
Hello, did it freeze?
Like, I mean, there's no reason to watch him nowadays.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we froze for a second. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I think
sorry.
Could you say that last part again?
I said I watched a few of his demos like when he got on the team a long time ago, but
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I think I saw you must have talked about it on a Counterpoints episode.
I mentioned what I saw.
Do you think? Did you notice anything with C's? Like, what do you think about the trajectory from going from like Zeus to Fitch to C's? Do you think that sort of like played into Zeus working or C's working here? Did you have any thoughts on that sort of trajectory? I thought you'd have a comment about Fitch because I heard you talk about it before.
Well, Fitch was like really static.
Yes.
C's is a lot like he's better at adapting. He can play more setups. Something that was nice to see when Gambit were playing their CT sides this most recent tournament is that I guess like they ran a bunch of CT little plays here and there, and I'm sure just C's knew them already. Like on Mirage, like something like one window, like kind of like a retake B thing where it's like 1B.
Where he's back at ticket booth.
Yeah, he'll like play back there, and then but they'll also like. I think C's just fits into the systems better right now that Gambit are using. I don't think he was involved in all of them that I remember, but just like they would play kind of away from him, and he knew how to handle it if he doesn't have any teammates by him. But he also knows how to handle it if he does have teammates, like when to peek, when not to peek. Just, I mean, simple things like that. But I didn't focus that much on him when I watched their games.
He also seemed to have confidence, which you haven't seen from C's in about like 2 years.
That's
just crazy.
Yeah, like pushing a bit on CT.
Yeah, and like actually winning his duels, which was blew my mind.
I mean, from ticket, I thought he was I saw him play with the rifle, the auto sniper, and the op. Like he was much more versatile and like changing it up and trying different things. Where Fitch was a much more static player, like Mauisnake was saying. Sam, have you come up with a comment on this topic?
Yeah.
Maybe you want to go in a different direction. Like,
I just
why do you think
to...
they matched up well with Liquid or whatever?
That's actually what I was going to say, which is that one of the reasons I think that they won against Liquid, because it was pretty close, was that they kept winning like post-plant situations over and over again. And like that seems to be a trend with Gambit, and I don't know why they keep winning those post-plant situations. Now, to be fair, I think Liquid have struggled for a while with post-plant situations, but like on both maps they were winning consistently, or I guess on all 3 maps they were winning consistently. Like especially on Overpass, they were winning a lot of them, even though they lost the map. And to me, that's like a weird thing that they do that most teams don't do, where like oftentimes, like, you know, famously on Mirage, they'll just like give up the sign somewhat and play retake. Maybe that's the reason why they have a very strong CT side, because otherwise they don't have like crazy firepower. And like I don't think that, maybe you'll disagree with me, but like I don't think that Dosia is like an incredible anchor on a lot of these maps. Like he's
a very passive anchor.
I disagree to an extent. I thought in the train games that I saw that he was doing like a lot of good stuff with how he He seemed to have a very good like intuitive sense of how to play in alone that I don't think like would happen for as many players. Like as opposed to Stewie 2K, who can just like sit on top of the train and like win 3 duels against players pushing him, or like Flamey just a turret on side. It seems like Dosia was sort of playing around his lack of individual ability and seemed to have like a really good internal timing of how to play that side.
Yeah, I thought. I think I definitely noticed Train to be his best anchor map. But what I mean is that I don't think that he's so good that that's like a significant advantage that you have. Like for example, if you're playing against, like I would say like Tarek on B-side Mirage for a while was like just like so dynamic and so good. Like just putting different setups. Like maybe Magic's there as well. Like just there are certain players that just at some points in time are just like they're so good at playing a certain anchor that they're an advantage. I don't think that they have that. I don't think they have crazy firepower. So to me, the retake thing does stick out in my mind, but otherwise I don't see why they would have an advantage over other teams on their CT side.
Do you know why they're so good at retaking? Like, have you watched it that closely? I haven't.
No, I don't. Like,
it's
just a thing that I've noticed over. Like, people have mentioned it sometimes. I noticed it a lot this time. I mean, but I have no idea why. Like, I think maybe a part of it is that a lot of their players don't like randomly push through smokes. Like,
yeah,
don't randomly die.
No, I think I think a big thing with it is just like you have essentially 4 callers on this team, and it's like no matter the situation, like you watch the face cams during a retake, and Hobbit is just talking non-stop, and that was one of the funniest things, just watching him talk to Fitch, where it was just like just a dad trying to talk to like a stubborn child, just like, please do not peek this. Fuck, he peeked it, goddamn it. And then he's just like immediately like raging at everyone. And so yeah, I think just the like sort of brains trust they have going on is key for their retake setups, especially if you have like a Dren, Hobbit, and Dozier retaking a site. Like chances are they're going to play off each other really, really well, or at least better than a team like Liquid.
They also win a lot of individual clutches. Like they beat Twist like twice in 2 rounds in a row. Just like players that are individually inferior to Twist, like Dozier, just like dominating him in the 1v1.
Yeah, right? That's one of the weirdest things about watching Dozier. Sometimes he'll just get a multi kill out of nowhere, and he just like the same like straight blank face. Yeah, it's like and one of the weirdest players to watch.
Like mouth breathing face.
He's always mouth open, right?
Yeah, he is not breathed through his nose once all tournament.
Yeah.
Except when he like lifts up the trophy, just
or exhale.
Anyway, I think that's to say that they're a fine team, but I think they overachieved here. Like I don't know, maybe you guys disagree, but I don't think in the next 3 months they're going to win a lot of series over Liquid.
I don't know. I feel like they can be a consistent, like, bottom of the top 10 team for sure.
But I would think that Liquid would be better than that, right? That's what kind of what I'm saying. Like, do you think they're going to beat Mouse Sports and Navi?
Well, they definitely don't have they have one of the like lowest sort of skill ceilings out of everyone in the top 10 for sure.
Yeah.
Like if we consider the talent on Liquid versus the talent on Gambit, but I definitely feel like Gambit's far more like conducive to consistency.
We got to think about it in terms of the map pool too. We're switching over to Dust 2, which is theoretically going to be a more skill-based map, and then that's probably going to hurt a team like Gambit. Okay, Gambit, since Zeus left, hasn't really been a cobblestone team. Actually, like they gave up cobblestone halfway through their run together. But I mean, it seems like it's sort of not in their benefit to switch over to Dust 2 to add that and Cash in the map pool, and you have Nuke, which they don't really play and look pretty bad on, like what Max was saying before.
Yeah.
But maybe
I think they could be good at Dust 2. It's like Gambit actually have pretty good pistols, and like Dust 2 is a map where you can just have deagle rounds a lot because just take those fights a lot of the time, and like there's only so many angles to play at the B bomb site on Dust 2. If you have a deagle going in there, you can clear them all one by one, and Adren can just get a headshot, do his little stupid crouch peek thing that he does all the time, and then just like get him.
And they're also a good like mid-round default team, which is probably good for a Dust 2 T.
Yeah, you can switch up what you're doing on Dust 2 so quickly, and if you just everyone's on the same page right away, you just switch and you're going to it.
Because that's one of the best parts about watching them Mirage is how good they are working off of mid control, in my opinion. Like they can do so many creative things off of mid control in like the mid to late round because of like going back to how intelligent their like fragging core is.
Yeah. Also, like a lot of the teams they'll be competing against in those rankings are big cobble teams. Like Cloud9 was a cobble team at some.
Yeah.
Fnatic,
Liquid was a cobble
Space
team.
Soldiers.
Yeah, Space Soldiers. Like a lot of these teams play cobble.
Yeah.
Like I would think that they'll probably be good at Dust 2, but it's not like it's a massive disadvantage to Gambit relative to those teams.
But at the same time, would you back Fnatic on Dust 2 or Gambit on Dust 2?
I don't know.
Fnatic might be a cobble
such a
team,
big
but
question
I look at their
still.
core. Yeah, I don't know.
It's difficult, but like there's some teams that like I just don't know if they'll like. I get that it's a skill map, but that doesn't necessarily translate. Like there are other things to the map other than the fact that you're really good at lining up headshots on Cat or something.
Like if Cajun B can be dominant on Dust 2, anything's possible.
Okay.
The thing with judging like players on Dust 2 prior to seeing them like recently is that we've seen like there's somewhat skill-based maps today, but like so much of it is based off of like how much map control and utility and everything you're using to set up the duels that you want. And Dust 2, you can take a lot of duels dry, and that's something we just haven't seen. It does happen on other maps, but like Dust 2 is so dry peak reliant a lot of the time that sometimes players will show up that you're like, oh, that guy's actually pretty good at aiming, but we didn't really know it because he was never in situations to take one-on-one duels as much as Dust 2 offers you. So
I'm waiting for that flamey
Oh,
B-side, boys. He's gonna
Can we
pop the
talk
fuck
about
off. You watch,
Flamey?
ready?
Can we talk about Flamey?
Okay,
Can we
let's transition over
The
to
segue,
Navi.
boys. Look at that
Okay,
shit.
here's
Yeah.
the segue, right? Okay, so I agree with what you guys were saying that the Gambit's strength is primarily because of their like they have that uncanny ability to win those retakes, and there's a certain like theory that it's just like Zeus's like disembodied soul inhabiting the remains of Gambit. I mean, I am more of the opinion that they're just ultra like a lot of these guys are very, very veteran, and then you see like good like sort of calculated plays from Adren, Dozia, Hobbit. But like, what do you think of this sort of to transition over to Navi? Do you think like any of this is? I mean, is there validity to this? Do you think that Zeus is like brought these qualities over to Navi, or is it a much different team than Gambit?
I don't think that Navi plays that slow.
No.
To be honest. So like, I think Navi plays actually pretty good T side. Like, I haven't looked at the stats, but just kind of judging off of them, like I feel like they're not great, but they're pretty good. Like,
well, imagine if you have Simple on your T side, it's pretty fucking easy.
But I've also noticed a thing that I hadn't noticed for a while, which was like I noticed Zeus making like good calls. Like, and no, I don't mean that as a rude thing. I'm just not that smart, so I don't notice calls very often. And what like so it means that when I do, they're pretty good calls. And I think that he actually Zeus was noticeable on this. Like, obviously he played well individually, but I thought he was pretty good as a caller. They had good changes of pace, I found. And so I think that Navi are a better tactical team than Gambit are right now by a significant margin. But I don't know if you guys disagree with that.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
We should give credit to Zeus for this. We should give credit to Zeus for them because everyone's been shitting on him for a while.
No, I give credit to. Yeah, I give credit to. Oh, shut the fuck up, Scott. I will catch a flight tomorrow and strangle you alive, man. The last thing I need is that can of worms. No, but I'm giving credit to C's, mate. He's just like behind Zeus, constantly one step behind him, just like trying to pick up all those fractured pieces. You know what I mean? Like going from Navi to Gambit. Just eventually he'll make like the tweet like I will not retire before I win a major, and then he'll be like the transcendent version of C's, and we'll join Navi with Simple and take them to the major. Yeah, it's going to be a sick narrative. I'm actually that's the narrative I'm trying to incorporate in a piece for HTC, but I don't know if old mate the editor will let me do it. But anyway. All
right. Well, so on C specifically, though, talking about his reputation, I've always been the opinion, especially during the PGL major, that he's been extremely, extremely overrated. The Gambit's main strength was their CT sides, was their ability to be coordinated in the mid round. It wasn't necessarily the mind of Zeus, though we need to give him some plaudits here. Mauisnake, what do you think over under Zeus? Overrated, underrated? What do you think about him currently?
Currently, I mean, I'm not sure what everyone is saying right now about Zeus. I feel like he's probably, well, today, I think he's probably overrated today, just a little bit.
There it is.
Yeah. I mean, he's on Gambit. Yeah, it didn't seem like Astralis. Like, I think Glaive is like a great IGL that has put so much into place for that team that they can work off of every round and be confident with. With Zeus, there's definitely more uncertainty going into each round that it seems like the players have to exercise cautions that a team like Astralis, for example, just isn't. Like, they're just kind of go through the motions and they look more comfortable than maybe that's just the players, honestly. Like, actually, they might just be better players on Astralis when I really look at that, but
right.
Okay, well, I cut you guys off before about you wanted to talk about Flamey. Max, you had a point about Flamey?
Oh, well, if we're talking about just straight duels, like Flamey low-key, like one of the best duelers in the game.
No, but I wanted to say something. I didn't think he was very good here.
Oh, so, not in Marseille, but like that's that's also relative to how good he's been before Marseille. I think people overlook how good he is as the secondary star of Navi.
Right. Well, he does play different. I think he plays different positions now. Like I heard. Yeah. There's a narrative that he plays, but I noticed he played ramp and stuff. Like that kind of sucks. But like I don't think he played those positions very well, at least in a lot of situations. Like
the biggest difference, like for example, on train, like Zeus anchors inner, and that was like constantly like the famous like Flamey position, and then like I think I can't remember where he plays on Overpass, but there's a couple of really famous. I said famous. There's a couple of really famous flamey positions like barrels on Overpass, where you just like sit there in the molly and try to tap 3 people with like a silence M4, just shit like that.
So it might be that he's not comfortable in these new positions yet.
Yeah,
right?
but like at the same time, I give credit to him because it's not like he's playing terribly, and I think. Especially as a secondary AWPer, he's just decided to pick it up, and he's like having decent success. Because I see him as the sort of like the stable counterpart to if Simple just like goes and decides to push down mid on Inferno, then it's like Flamey's secondary AWP can be posted up somewhere else and just hold an angle, like hit one shot, molly, smoke, and then maybe die or something. You know what I mean? Like that's what I see.
I just thought that his individual levels seemed to be lower than but obviously that can be just the comfort and the new position and just like not wanting to not do things. But I just felt like he lost quite a few duels that he.
I agree. I definitely think at Marseille specifically, he did not play it to the level we've seen him before. I'll agree with that for sure. But like I think before Marseille has been a pretty exceptional relative to like the Guardian seized Flamey, which I guess isn't saying much, but
Right. Okay. Fair enough. I'm satisfied with that.
Okay, so I guess the main story with Navi though, getting away from the players, is that they win another. Well, they didn't win another tournament. They got finals of another tournament. They look suddenly like a pretty. I mean, this is 2 good results for them. I mean, people want to dog on them, talk about how it's just simple, right? But now they seem like a legitimate contender. I mean, who's had better results than the Navi since the E-League major? Like maybe just FaZe. I mean, FaZe is a different team now.
Fnatic.
I mean, what are your expectations?
So there, to just say like this is a teaser for the ESPN Power Rankings for Sydney, but they're 3rd there. So
don't fucking mention that name of this
podcast. But they're 3rd there. So to me, I think that you have Astralis, and then you have Fnatic, and then you have. You could debate like Mouse and Navi, but we put Navi there, so pretty high.
Giving it away.
Sorry, no, but like I'm just saying that those are my thoughts. Like I think that they look like a pretty solid team. Like they play Nuke well. That's pretty.
Yeah, I think Nuke is a great. Like Astralis and Navi playing Nuke, I think it's great. I've been saying that forever. That people should play Cash and Nuke and try to get into that sort of field, but. No one listens to me. All right, Mauisnake, how you put? You said that you agree with Sam. You put them in like top 3.
Yeah, I'd say Fnatic is probably better than them right now. Yeah, and then Astralis is. I mean, Astralis, you get so much recency bias. Although they have been playing really well online lately too. Magis Boy is just so good right now. Like he's playing the best he's ever played, and he was really good before this.
Put some respect on his name, mate. Just Magis. The boy's been dropped a long time ago. He's a man.
Magis man. Yeah, no, he's playing amazing too. But Navi probably, I'd say 3rd. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to ask a little question to Mauisnake because I have hardly watched any Fnatic outside of the WSG finals against Space Soldiers, and I don't know how representative that is of their play. So, like, what is, or to Sam, like to anyone, like, why should I be on Fnatic? What should I look for if I'm watching a bunch of their games besides Crims? So,
I just wrote this thing for Thorin about him. Fnatic each individual player, like, no matter what the map, it's like, it doesn't look spectacular, but like the way they work their positions and their mid-round calls on T side are like phenomenal. That's like they get so much information because everyone is like pressure lurking all the time. They're all pressuring their positions in the default, and they just default over and over again. Like I watched so many Fnatic demos from IEM and from WSG, and they maybe ran like one strat per 3 maps. It felt like they were barely execing ever. It was all just defaults, and like when Flusha's pressuring you, JW's pressuring you. Like, Lekro can even pressure you, too. Like, these guys just understand the meta of their spots so well, and they just keep going to them over and over again. They'll switch up defaults by, like, sometimes putting 2 people in one position, or sometimes even 3, like, in a slightly more aggressive default, but they just know how to work their spots with just the utmost success. And
it's like the ghost of Dennis plaguing their team. Like, they haven't run a single exec in, like, 3 tournaments.
That's what it feels like, and then I think Golden's just coordinating their mid-rounds really well. I mean, there was that one YouTube, I forgot who made it, what entity made it, but it was just like it showed what they did on Cobble that one time. Not
Probably
sure if you guys
Blitz
saw it.
Esports.
Oh yeah, Blitz. It was Blitz. You're right. Yeah, it was that one, and it just
Blitz,
showed how
let's
like
go, champ.
they worked that opening pick with 2 people, and then they mid-rounded by just doing a pretty standard split. Honestly, that's kind of like what you get out of them. But they also read the situation really well too. Cobble's Cobble's out now, but I still would say Fnatic on Dust 2 are going to be really good at just understanding the meta of their positions in the default and just working it really
And
well.
do they AWP a lot? Because I think I was looking at the statistics and it's like the AWP wasn't whipped out a crazy amount or like something.
JW doesn't even pick it up all the time.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Yeah. So they're doing sort of a liquid type thing where just like pull it out when needed.
Yeah, I mean CT side they'll do it more than T side. That's how it
gotcha.
goes. Yeah.
My worry with Fnatic is that I think that JW doesn't always play the pressure lurking particularly well. Like I know that it's JW style, but and maybe you disagree with me on that. But it feels like at least let's say connector on Mirage, if he lurks there, like there's a lot of times where he's dying, and so I feel like there's a lot of pressure on making good calls where like because he dies
like
there
mid-rounding out of necessity.
No one. If they make the right call and they make a playoff, it's worth it, right? Like because he sacrificed his life for the info. But I feel like there's a really careful balance you have to put there because JW is dying like randomly quite a lot around window and around connector. So I think
that's true. And then but 1 in 3 rounds he'll also find himself getting all the way through jungle into window too. So like that just gives you so much too. And I mean I guess they're just comfortable with it. Like really, it's like that. What is it? I guess like Fur just pushing everywhere all the time, or when they had us too. SK, they just they're okay.
That definitely feels like the way you're describing it, sort of like an SK type style, like where you're just pressuring off the default constantly.
Yeah, I'd say they're even looser than that too.
Really?
So, yeah, like the way they get map control is really like it's not even that special looking. It's like I mean they probably won the tournaments because they were winning duels, but like it seems kind of duel dependent too sometimes. Like the way they get into the positions they get into.
Okay, so what do you think about why'd you say that the Fnatic is better than Navi? Do you think individually, like in a matchup, they'd be better? Like, how would you?
Yeah, for sure.
What would your broad thoughts on a Navi versus Fnatic best of 3?
For me, I think that. Trying to think of even what maps it would go to. You guys have any ideas for that? Like,
Mirage probably.
Mirage, yeah.
Okay, Mirage.
Fnatic play Inferno, yeah.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Okay, well then Mirage.
That's already
Inferno.
that's already
Mirage
2 maps that I think
the first 2 maps. Yeah,
Fnatic
probably.
just kill it on. Like, they
like a banger of a series.
It would be sick because Fnatic would just they just take so many awesome duels and like okay when you have Edward on one side of the map and Zeus on another side of the map, dude, I'm sorry but Fnatic will pressure those guys like no other and they will just take them out. Like they just don't care that much. Like they're willing to risk their lives because if they know that they get any kind of like entry kill, they can work off of it well enough that's I feel like Fnatic kind of all in sometime on like default duels, and they're duels that they would win because I think they have a higher skill on their just total on their team.
Doesn't sound like that's like conducive to consistency though.
No,
so much of it's still
I didn't think so either. But then they won 2 tournaments in a row. But WSU is kind of a weird tournament, but they still and it's like a confidence thing also. Like I forgot. I don't know where I read it. Someone said something about like the way SK kind of fell apart was that maybe it was even just a Reddit comment, honestly, but it was just like SK were super good because they were super tactical. Then they built confidence, and then they started being random with that confidence, and that was just like made them super good. But once they got a little sloppy and people understood what they did, they lost that confidence, and then they fell even deeper down. That's what can happen to Fnatic, where if people realize how they're playing all their positions in an aggressive T-side default, then you're gonna just start to like just learn. Okay, so JW is gonna do this. He's gonna like bank a flash off of the kitchen side, like in B apartments, and then he's gonna peek the opera or something. He's gonna take like the same like similar routes on every time. And once you kind of learn that, JW is gonna lose confidence in taking his position aggressively. And then if they find out how another guy plays his position, like Lekro pushes Ivy by himself on train.
So there's no plan B there really.
Like, it's just play off the info. But
so what you're
maybe
saying
Fnatic
is,
had their run. I don't know. They might have already just had their.
What you're saying is that they'll never beat Astralis ever.
Yeah, I was getting at that as well.
Yeah, and actually, I think Astralis would be a really tough matchup for Fnatic.
I think you have to be worried with that kind of style against Navi though, because Navi are like say like on Mirage, like again when they played against Mouseboards, they actually killed them around mid. because like Simple was opping super aggressively, and then Electronic was going on Cat and stuff like that. And if they take those duels willingly, and because they're two of the best players in the world, like they win them quite often.
Yeah.
And I feel like if they're beating Mouse that way, which is like probably one of the best mid Mirage teams in the world, right? It's difficult to see how Fnatic have success just doing a slow default. But at the same time, if they exploit the sides and let go of the middle,
they pressure.
I mean, even Zeus at B like held his own. Like
but that was distinctive. Like that was a special moment.
An exception to the rule.
Yeah, and also he did get op entried by Oscar like 3 times.
A lot,
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna say like, nah, I'm not sold on Zeus. But I think Edward is worse though.
Well, they did read it. I think I remember one round where they like posted Simple's AWP up at Van and like punished him. Like I was about to say that.
That's how you.
I'm pretty sure they started reading it. Yeah.
Well, I was about to bring up that point because Mauisnake was saying, okay, well, you can sort of abuse the fact that Na'Vi has these weaknesses across the map, and Edward and Zeus, and you sort of can just play to them. I mean, I'm a Pet was talking about when he was with CLG, when CLG could beat Gambit on Cobblestone and Overpass, when that was their best maps, he would specifically target Zeus and go to his sites and try to like come up with flashes and stuff to fuck with Zeus, and then abuse him, and that's how they beat Gambit on their best maps. And this is sort of like a strategy people could use versus the current Na'Vi, but you do see this sort of interplay where it seems like Simple or not Simple or Zeus or Simple Na'Vi or someone on that team is aware that people will try to abuse.
It's like the older brother that comes in.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think about this theory? Any takers on this? Is this a valid a counterpoint to Fnatic running over Na'Vi?
Yeah, no, that's fair. But like, I feel like there's so many liabilities because it's like 40% of their team is a liability that I feel like Na'Vi's at least not
Simple can't be 3 guys.
No.
And he can. I wouldn't put it past him, dude. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
But I don't think that, like, they need another roster move to replace Edward if they want to be a top team.
Yeah, I agree.
But, like, I think that ideally they would get someone who can anchor bomb sites.
Like,
you know what I mean? Like,
Dozier.
Oh, yeah, Dozier.
I think
Dozier would be an upgrade.
Yeah.
Right. No, he would be.
Like,
but
it actually isn't that bad. Like, I sort of made it as a joke, but it's actually kind of work.
No, I think it's a Dren. I think a Dren is the obvious.
Dren's
Oh, yeah. Okay, if you could get him, it would be the best.
Yeah, or, like, literally anyone. Like, fucking bring back C's boys. Get him in the role he is in right now.
You could take anyone on Gambit for Edward, and I think it's a better
Probably, yeah. I agree.
No, maybe except for Mo.
Yeah, for Mo, yeah.
But I think they would legitimately be awesome if, like, because a Dren can do the CT side roles and he can entry. So like I think he's really well suited to be like, he wouldn't be like, you know, posting as 0.8 kills per round on that team probably, but he would still be really effective at that role. And I think that team would be like, that team could beat Astralis if it worked.
Well, I mean, even Hobbit can do that T-side stuff as well. Like, I feel like Hobbit could easily play.
Yeah, but after watching Hobbit at this event, I'm just so turned off.
Mate, have a bit of memory. Remember the Mac 10? Mac 10's up banana, boys.
No,
like,
but
just
watching a player just constantly like anchoring Ivy and just constantly getting Shrek'd over and over again is depressing because you'd think that he would be able to switch up his style, right? If he was truly a strong anchor. You know what I mean? But maybe that was just his turn, but he was just depressed or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I definitely feel like Hobbit's a type of player. He'll just, I was going to say, he'll just sit there, just like at the dinner table with his wife, just like on his phone though, like looking at demos of him just getting killed at Ivy over and over again. You're like, all right, time to try shit up, please.
But so I think Adren would be better, but Hobbit would be fine too. Like, I just think that Edward is like, I didn't initially jump in on the Edward thing because I'm wary of just shitting on random players. But like,
it's good fun. It's good fun.
But it's other podcasts
it gets you noticed.
Talks shit that isn't shit. I think they go pretty hard on Edward.
Yeah. But I think that it is pretty incredible how much of a liability he is. Because I haven't watched Na'Vi a lot until now. Like, I've watched them back in like 2015, 2016, and
it's crazy because you look. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. When you look at the contrast of when he was actually good, and you're like, oh well, this makes sense. Like Edward's role in the team because it's like. The system seems to work, but then when like his only thing going for him is that he's an occasionally above average pistol player when he gets dropped to P250 with armor, it's like, cool, man, there's definitely other players in the world that can do that. Like, I don't know why he's in the team. other than the fact that like he's hanging on to the bitter end because you know that no other team in the world will ever give him the amount of money Na'Vi is giving him to do what he's doing.
Right, but is Na'Vi going to stay a top 4 team when other teams get better?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a really good question, actually.
What do you think about Na'Vi and the map pool change? Dust 2 for Cobblestone.
Pretty bad cobble team, right?
Yeah, I don't think I can really even place their cobble. I'm trying to think of it. I mean, Dust 2... I think like Simple could obviously
exactly.
Simple can see on every map, but it sort of has that. There's so many different it's so separated with that the structure of it. It seems like you can be more lopsided and try to abuse players. It's like not as maybe straight. I don't know. Is this? Do you think you can abuse people better on?
As a great analyst once said, Scott, I feel like he could Shrek a lot more people.
Sure.
I don't think. I don't know. I don't see it. But I haven't played a ton of the new Dust 2, and I haven't watched any people play it. So maybe some.
Na'Vi can be a pretty great Dust 2 team because you can implement on T side a lot of strategies based off of your op. The old meta was kind of just try to get up to catwalk and then take duels with the op.
Yeah.
I mean, that won't be the same thing nowadays, I don't think. But at the same time, simple dueling catwalk with an op. Come on, who's gonna There's probably literally I can count on my hand how many people will beat him consistently. So that can work.
Did they open this? What was the changes to the skyboxes they made? I remember someone's.
It's outside of long A or towards you used to be able to throw a smoke that would block off the CT cross. You can see the cross on Dust 2 from CT spawn. You used to be able to throw a smoke that would block that perfectly, and you would throw it from long A. You can't throw that smoke anymore. You have to throw a normal cross smoke that's going to be farther up. So, I mean, that's a few things. Oh, my monitor turned off, or it went black for a second. But I think that an opera like Simple can actually take over that map more than other maps, because you can also have a really strong mid presence with that op. If he's on CT side, he could op mid, he could get boosted catwalk, he could just take a fight long A. He can shut down so many spots on the map that's just that are really important. Every spot on Dust 2 is pretty important, and if you just have an op there and he rotates off after one shot or something, one pick, he can be anywhere on the map so quickly all the time. Especially if he gets boosted catwalk, he can just go anywhere in 20 seconds or less, So unless you're just oh my god, Simple's over here, we're just gonna run B now. That's how teams might be afraid enough to play against Na'Vi.
Yeah.
And as long as Edward throws a smoke at tunnels, he's not gonna get 0 kills. So let Simple get that one, move off somewhere else, then yeah.
Okay, maybe we're sort of cutting around the edges on this one. How good is Simple right now? I mean, is it even worth just gushing about? I mean, do we want to talk about, is there a misconception? Okay, maybe this is a way of getting at this question. First episode, I asked for call-outs on people you disagreed with, and is there a popular opinion you want to fight with? I mean, is there common misconceptions about Simple that you really disagree with? Is there a pet peeve of yours? I mean, there's all these debates about Crosshair or whether he's too selfish. Actually, in that first episode, Sam, I thought not Sam, it was Max who said something where you thought he was all the resources were funneled into Simple, where a lot of people have the opposite opinion, where they think he's a very independent player. Maybe that's
my big pet peeve. And that I tweeted it out is that because of just how fucking absurdly good Simple is as a player and the ridiculous things he can do, people are so quick to dismiss everything around him, and that's why people don't give Flamey his dues or Electronic his dues, and are so ready to just talk shit about Zeus, where it's just Simple for so many tournaments was just getting an AK dropped for him second round, or was just getting hero UMPs dropped for him. And it's yeah, sure, he might be able to get the 4K, and it's a credit to Simple, but it's not many teams in the past have been willing to dedicate so many economic resources to Simple and to also base an entire structure around him, because he can, in a lot of senses, just do the shit he wants to do. And so I agree that he is an incredible player and he's carrying Na'Vi unlike any player we've seen in the past, except for maybe peak Kenny S. But people are very, very quick to dismiss around the Simple, because it's not mutual. It's not because if Simple is just so clearly the best player that he is now, then why hasn't he achieved this prior? You know, like what's been the deciding factor that's made him so good? That's
Right, but
sort
I
of
think
where I'm coming up.
I think that it can be both in the sense that I do
I
think that
agree.
Simple is the best player in the world right now. But I do think he's getting quite a few resources funneled into him. But like here's a comparable. Like, let's say Device has so many things funneled into him. Like on certain maps, like overpass. No, but like let's say on overpass, like currently, like Astralis is playing a super aggressive kind of A-side overpass where Device is taking super aggressive peaks and all that. And I've had this argument with other people, but I think that's a change that they've made. But like he's playing super aggressively, and I think that obviously he's going to get a ton of kills, right? But at the same time, like it's not. It's a credit to Magus playing that site with him that he can be reliable enough that if Device dies, it's not the end of the game, right? Or the end of the round.
A credit to Zipnix for the fact that if Device does die, he can come in and like clutch out a post plant. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
So
there's always shit around it.
And I think that, but if you look at these two players, they're getting a ton of resources. Like Device isn't doing what Simple is doing still, right?
No, I agree.
Like so, here's an example. I was having this argument with Dust when we were doing our rankings because he was complaining about the MVPs because he thought that Device should have had the MVP. And like Device played super well, but Device had a 0.15 kills per round less than Simple. So he was at 0.85, which is amazing, and Simple was at 1. Yeah. Come on. Like over what 12 maps or 10 maps, something like that. Like come on. So, so that to me, it doesn't really matter how many resources are getting funneled to him. What he's doing is like transcendent.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Kenny S like in like peak Titan Kenny S in a long time, so I would have to go back.
You don't have the knowledge you have now, like your level of expertise, so like
not at all.
Yeah.
I was mostly watching League back then, so you know, being a TSM fanboy or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you even allowed to legally say that on like a CS podcast?
But so just to summarize my point, I think that it is the case that some of the credit of Simple's success goes to his team, definitely, and I think people will be more willing to say that now that Electronic has done well.
Yeah,
but so they'll be able to defer credit to the team. But I also think that the only reason that works is because Simple is so good, right? The only reason they can even do.
But there is a degree of like a sort of symbiotic relationship, and I agree with you. Like that, sure. Simple is undeniable in how good he is. Right. Like that, there's no like messing around with it. But yeah, I think people are just so they get so lost in just how.
I apologize for ending the podcast abruptly once again, but there was an internet failure in my area, and I just couldn't do the podcast. It actually came back on Rise. Everyone gave up on me, so yeah, just timinged. CSGO Classic. But go ahead and express your frustration if you didn't think you got enough of the episode. Downvote, thumbs down, negative comments. You know, just roleplay as angry Brazilian fans if you ever had that inclination. You know, DMs are open. Just load that shit up if you want. Yeah, apologies. Hopefully we won't run into any more of these problems. It is still the early stages of the show, and I'm glad that actually we're getting more views. The first 4 episodes, we got more views each time. So hopefully this won't ruin our momentum, and I hope you enjoyed the episode.